What's the word, Harrisburg? Thank you so much for joining us on WHBG TV 20 and the WHBG YouTube page. You're watching right now, and we have a tremendous guest with a fascinating backstory and who is really doing amazing, incredible work right now in the city of Harrisburg. Our guest is Dee Allen from Thrive Housing Services. Thank you so much for joining us in studio.
Oh, thank you for inviting us.
So Thrive Housing, tell us a little bit about kind of what you are able to do for whether it's the homeless population, the unhoused, people in Harrisburg who don't have a roof over their head as accessible as a lot of other people do.
So we have a lot of programs. We have programs that cater to different age populations. We have a program that caters to the 18 to 24-year-old population, which is our biggest program. We provide housing in a variety of different types of housing situations. So in regards to maybe they might start in a dorm style setting and then move and transition to an apartment. Some of the young adults that we have transition sometimes from apartments to houses. So there's a variety of different housing situations we can come across. We also provide housing for anybody that's 25 and older. We have a senior population where we provide housing for low-income seniors, and we also have a program that provides housing and supportive services for people who qualify under the McKinney-Vento law, which is in regards to school-age children.
Basically, wrapping everything up you just said into one kind of overall point is there's a lot of need for this in the city of Harrisburg right now.
That's correct.
Can that be overwhelming at times?
I think right now it's extremely overwhelming for a lot of people coming out of COVID and the traumatic effect that that's had on people and their housing and their schooling and their jobs. It's very overwhelming right now. The inflation of housing and landlords and the inflation of what it takes to rehab a house to make it available for families it's extremely difficult right now. So it is very stressful.
What the programs that Thrive Housing kind of focuses on are these programs that directly provide shelters? Are they therefore bonding? I read that there's instances where you provide outdoor kind of experiences and things like that. What are the range of programs that Thrive offers?
So Thrive Housing Services started primarily with offering housing. We work with landlords and work with other property management companies to provide housing to people who were homeless that came to our agency. As Thrive grew and developed, we incorporated case management to provide some supportive services to the families that we were housing. We were learning that even though we were housing families, there were a lot of families that were not aware or understanding what it took to maintain their house, to become stable in their home. So there's a lot of things that go into becoming stable in your home. There's the financial asset. There's making sure that your job is able to produce the money that's needed to support your family in the house. If you have kids, then your kids are going to school, but then also making sure that their needs are being met financially. So a lot of housing stability is wrapped up around making sure that you're financially stable. And if you have areas in which you are not stable in regards to food or clothing, to be able to connect to community resources that can support you in the areas that you might not have enough finances to support yourself.
You said that the 18 to 24-year-old age group is kind of the biggest users of your services. Why do you think that is?
Because we started with that age group, I think that a part of the program has just been groomed a little bit more than the other parts. Basically, around COVID, we started adding more housing sections to our program. The 18 to 24 population is pretty much Thrive's baby. So we started in that population, and right now, the newer populations that we service are young and Thrive. We are just reaching out to landlords and providing these opportunities for families and seniors and veterans. But the reason why that's the biggest is because it's been around a little bit longer. We've been providing that service a little bit longer.
Why 18 to 24 though? What caused that age group to be the entry point for why Thrive exists?
I used to work for probation. I worked for probation 10 years before I started really providing the service and looking into the program. We developed the program while I was working at probation, but when I was at probation, there were a lot of families' homes that we went into that didn't have the things that they needed as far as the upkeep of the building, the maintenance of the building. So we started kind of like in that aspect, but how we got to the 18 to 24s, when I was working at probation, there were a lot of kids that have damaged their relationships with their family members and their friends and just people that would normally be a good relationship for somebody that age. And because of their choices and because of how, things played out with probation and, the damage that they've done to the relationships, we were dropping a lot of kids off at the Bethesda mission and closing their case and like, hey, I guess
You're
you
on your
can
own
figure
now.
it out. So
That's got to be really difficult for someone that wants to help. All you could do is just drop someone off somewhere else and say, hey, it's your problem now.
Right. And there wasn't really much probation could do because when you turn 18, now you're a young adult. You're not a juvenile anymore. The services that were available for young adults those age, it's like kind of like you're not really an adult, but you're almost still a kid.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a tweener situation.
18-year-olds are not mature by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, okay, the things that we did when we were 18 years old and the people that that Thrive deals with have seen far more life than we ever did at 18.
Yes, and which makes it even more complicated for them. So we decided that we wanted to work with doing a more dorm style setting. So like we had houses that were having house meetings, drug and alcohol free. We had a lot of people at that time when we first developed this that were in recovery. So we had house meetings, we had a supportive service, like we weren't babysitting them or case managing them, but we were just providing a good oversight of the residents so that people were doing what they were supposed to do. It was kind of like a little bit supervised, but not really. So when we provided that opportunity, there were other organizations that came and talked to us like, hey, we have these homeless youth. Like, can you help us with providing some housing services? We know it's like not really supervised, but it's enough supervision for an 18-year-old. So we were like, hey, sure. And we went to one of the houses that we felt was the most stable and asked the gentleman in there, hey, would you guys mind taking an 18-year-old? They're like, sure, we'll take an 18-year-old. He's homeless? I'm like, yeah. They're like, yeah, we'll take him. Just bring him over. Like, we'll, take a look after him. And he was a senior. And so he went to school and, he came home and the environment was that of which that, he was free to do what he wanted, but there was help if he needed help. And the older men's, they enjoyed having him around. He was a pleasure to work with, and he enjoyed having them around as well.
That's not necessarily foster care, but having someone kind of a father figure, a parental figure there to hold your hand and let you know, hey, help is available.
Right. We called it a Big Brother program, but it was more like a village. So it takes a village. So these older men, they're not related. They're not related to, the youth that came in or anything like that. But being able to mentor him a little bit and, him kind of give, them back what they need as far as their belonging and what they fit into and how they can be supportive. It helped them in their recovery, but it also helped him in growing up a little bit.
Born in New York. Went to high school here in Harrisburg High, which is to say, when you're growing up in those two cities, you are naturally around poverty. How did your youth and your formative years kind of lead to what you're doing now and shape who you are that you're able to do something like this now?
A lot of it was experience. I grew up in a domestic violence home from the age of 6 to 10. And then my mom said that she had enough of that and she took us and we all left. So at that point, we stayed in a hotel for a while. And then we were blessed to have the support of my mother's mother, who was my grandma, to be able to take us in until my mom could figure out, you know, can we get some housing? Like, what's the next steps? Because when you pick up your kids and just go, there's really no plan to that. So I didn't realize at that point that it would be classified as us being homeless, because I was like, hey, we're at my grandma's house. Like, it's not really considered homeless. But as I work in this sector of the homeless population and understanding the definitions, I was definitely fit into that category of being homeless. Knowing what I know now, my mom definitely shouldn't have been running us, all the way to school on the other side of town and all this stuff, because there's a lot of rules in regards to McKinney-Vento that I'm sure were available at that point. But to look back at that situation and what we went through and how long it took for us to get housing and how long it took for us to finally get a stable place, and only to go back into the cycle of domestic violence again with somebody else, and then, my mom moving to Harrisburg and then getting back into that cycle of domestic violence. It's a lot to go through as a child, to be privy to that and then not understand why this keeps happening and why this keeps happening. And then the older you get, why these people are put before you. This is your mom. And just understanding all of that now as an adult, it breaks my heart to see other kids have to go through it when there was nobody there for me to help me understand and to bring us to the food box, or to provide the housing for us, or to be able to be a resource to help us figure out what's going on in the community and stuff like that. So I think that, as I grew and learned my journey and what my journey was really about, it helped me to understand how I could help other people who are on similar journeys. And maybe people don't all go through domestic violence, but however you end up to becoming homeless or at risk of becoming homeless, it's still the same situation that you need that support and that help to take the next steps.
And not only having gone through that experience, but you're also a mother as well. How does that kind of play into how you go about helping others?
So being a mother is that in of itself. It's another job, and I definitely appreciate the opportunity that God has given me to have 3 little girls. So, I mean, being a mother and understanding what it takes to be a good mother, understanding what it takes to be able to provide the things that your kids need, and to understand what it takes for you to get up in the morning and for you to have this nonstop attitude of taking care of your kids and being supportive and being sustainable for them and providing, everything that they need, from school to extracurriculars to housing to, the transportation. It's a big responsibility. And to watch someone who has from 1 kid to 8 kids be a single parent. I mean, I'm married and I have a husband, so there's extra support on that side. But a lot of the families we deal with, they're single parents, single moms, and now a lot of single dads trying to raise their kid and maybe didn't have as much support as I had when I was younger, to be able to understand what you need to do to keep all these ducks in a row, to understand what you need to do to be a good mother. They're resilient. They have no questions or problems about being resilient. But understanding, how do we make this stable? How do we end up in this situation time and time again? What is it that we need to do to stop this generational just process of moving from house to house, being on Section 8, not being able to own anything, not having anything of your own other than material things, not understanding life insurance, not understanding all of the things that make you a stable family, a stable mother, a stable household. And I think that being a mother now adds a different viewpoint to all of it, because um, I don't know what I would do if I had not had the opportunity to have someone educate me when I was young about what needs to be done to kind of keep everything stable.
Having gone through the experience you mentioned when you were younger, having lived through that horror, I'm sure at times. You mean you survived. You and your family survived that time, and now here you are, a mother of three. Do you kind of, is it that experience that you have now? You're able to kind of, I don't want to see this happen. What happened to me when I was younger, I don't want to see that happen to other people, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Right. Especially the youth, because in those domestic violence situations, the older that you get, you become numb to it. Like, it's like you live it, but it's, you don't really want to live it. So as you get 16, 17, 18 years old, you don't really understand what's happening, but you don't really want to be a part of it. And to offer housing, whether the domestic violence is between your mom and you, or between the boyfriend and your mom, or the other baby's dad, like, there's so many different types of domestic violence. And I think that for youth that are in those situations that want to get out, I think that providing this opportunity for them to get out is essential for them, because that opportunity never came for me. And so allowing that opportunity for others to escape the environment that is not healthy, is very traumatic. It gives them a chance to become their self and what they want to become, and not being forced to sit in situations where it's not healthy. But not only kids come from domestic violence, some of their parents die, some of them have sabotaged their relationships, and the families don't want to, mend those relationships yet, because they've been hurt so many times by behaviors and words and actions and friends. I mean, being 16 and 17, 18 years old is a critical time in your life, but it's critical to the relationships. But at that age, you don't understand.
Do you remember the time when you realized everything that your mom was doing to help the family survive, and kind of what those conversations were like with her about poverty and homelessness and things of that, once you got to the age that you were able to understand what was actually happening in your life?
The light bulb still goes off now. I mean, it takes a long time to put all the pieces together, to understand your road in life, to understand your struggles and why things were the way they are. I learned that. I'm still learning every single day. Oh, this is why that happened. This is how this happened. This is to develop the story or the testimony that you have. I think that, like, it's really, it's an everyday journey, and sometimes the light bulb goes off multiple times in the day or the week, like, oh, now I understand. But if you're always in a situation of traumatic events and survival mode, you never get to sit down, and your brain never gets to process the road you've been on, the journey that you've had, and to see how it works for you or could help someone else.
Knowing that you are able to provide for a family, maybe, I mean, in a way, to no fault of your past and no fault of your mother, because she was obviously doing everything she could to help the family survive, and you're now able to help your family and others thrive. And that is what kind of comes out of this, to the title of your nonprofit. Knowing that you can help individuals now thrive and at least get them on the right path. when you're able to take them on an outdoor kind of experience, or you're able to give them basic shelter or help them get a job or give them those services, what is that level of fulfillment like? Because I would imagine it's a lot greater than, hey, I had a great day at work. You're helping other people write their lives.
It's awesome every day. Every time I post something on Facebook, I say, "Oh, I love what we do. I love what we do." It's there. It's 3 words, 4 words. I love what we do. It's a sentence, however you want to say it. There is so much fulfillment and joy to look back and see how you've been able to support someone, even if it's just a little bit. A lot of the kids that come through are young adults. They don't understand at that point. Like, why do they have these rules? Why are they trying to tell me? Why are they, helping me to make these changes in my life? I'm fine the way that I am. I got here by myself. And my motto to them is, yes, you have mastered 17 and under. And now, this is the young adult life. 18, school is over. You are out here creating a map of your life for yourself that no one else has control over but you. So where are you going? And so they always get look in the deer in headlights like, well, I feel like something's big's going to happen. And I said, okay, cool. Well, tell me about the plan. Well, I don't know, but something big is going to happen. And so, the joy and the fulfillment is just unreal to see kids who've been living in a hotel for 6 months jump up and down and roll on the carpet and run up the steps and down the steps and coming saying thank you so much for providing the housing for my mom or helping my family, or the kids that we find outside for the youth program that are in tents and other things, and providing that housing, providing the service. Oh, I can get food. Oh, yes, you can get food. There is tons of food here. Like, it is just the fulfillment of every day. And it's funny because it rolls over to my kids. So we've had a lot of mom and babies come in the program, a lot of dads and babies. So my kids, they get out of their after school programs and they get in the car and they're like, Mommy, whose room are we going to put together tonight? And I'm like, guys, there's no rooms tonight. Oh, there's no new people coming in. Oh, not today. We've already helped 14 this week. Like, that's good enough. But they're so ecstatic. I mean, to meet different kids and babies and families, they're so happy. And to then bring that family unity together, we work hard, we play hard. So we play hard at Thrive. We party hard. We have Super Bowl parties. We have any holiday, we are partying.
I want to quickly kind of touch on something that you mentioned with when your kids kind of see this and they help out. There's a level of professional fulfillment of helping other families, but then I imagine, speaking as I'm a father of 2, and when I see my kids helping out with something, the level of pride that gives in me as a father is unlike anything else. And they're not doing anything. I love my kids, but they're not doing anything like what you and your kids are doing. So I speak to that and just like what that must be like for you to see that your kids, as young as they are getting that experience today of what it's like to truly help others.
Well, at first I didn't take them around a lot because I didn't feel like that they were young. My oldest is 7. So I have a 7-year-old, 5-year-old, and a 4-year-old. So
I have just about 6 and 3. So we're right around the same, yeah.
Right. So having now they understand. So they understand. My daughter says, Mommy, somebody asked me what you do at your job. And here's what I told him. I hope you're happy. And I said, okay. She said, I told him that we take in homeless kids and babies and we provide housing for them. We give them sheets. We give them groceries. We give them clothes. Anything that they need, we give them. And then we treat them like they're in our family. And I said, you did a fabulous job of explaining Mommy's job. But when I heard that, my heart melted because I never talked to her about what mommy's job is. So the display of what I do affected what her opinion was of what my job was. So now they always ask, well, this baby needs sheets. So where are we getting sheets? We can give them ours. And I'm like, we can't always give them ours, but mommy can, make sure that they get what they need. Okay, it's Christmas, mommy. What toys are we giving to kids at your house? Whatever toys you guys pick out, I'm sure they'll be happy. And every year they do that. But it's awesome to see, because if you take that into the houses and the resident assistants that we have, if they run the houses that way and model the behavior in which you would like the house to be represented, then other people's kids are going to see my kids, and then they're going to want to do the same for the next kids that are coming in the house.
I feel like we've spent 25 minutes holding back tears, but happy tears because of the work that you and Thrive Housing Services are doing. Please plug wherever people can go to find more information, if they want to donate, whatever, to help you, Dee Allen, and Thrive Housing Services. Where can people go?
So we have a website. You can go on thrivehousingservices.org. And on the website, there's a donation page that shows all of the hygiene items, any of the sheets or the bedding that we need for families or kids that move in. There's a place that you can click to become a resident, and you can fill out any applications, information, all of the information that you need to submit your application. If you are homeless or at risk of being homeless, you can submit all of that online. We have a phone number that you can call if you're not an online person and you need something in person or you need to speak to a person. So our phone is on between the hours of 10 and 5, and we can provide whatever information that you need. The phone number is 717-364-4152. We do a lot. So if you're looking to fish, we fish, kayak, we kayak. We provide furniture to families that are moving in that might not be directly in our program, but to the community. So there are a lot of things that are going on. We have a calendar full of life skills, cooking classes, financial literacy, you name it, work program, job readiness. So you name it, we try to provide it.
Dee, thank you so much for opening up and with your candor and your story. I hope that a lot of people see this and it resonates with them, and hopefully they either pick up the phone or go online, help donate, help a tremendous cause. Thank you so much for coming into WHBG.
Thank you for having me.
That's the word, Harrisburg. Dee Allen, Thrive Housing Services. We really appreciate you stopping by. We'll see you next time.